Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live recording of the 2-week rule. Today, we are going to cover some pretty basic concepts to get you through the first couple of weeks after your baby is born. One of the members in our group, Katie, is due to have her baby anytime now. And when I asked the question in the group, where is everybody at? How can I support you? How can I help you right now? She came forward and said, I'm about to have my baby, and she's trying to navigate dealing with family and how to respectfully ask them to respect her in her period after baby's born, where she just wants to bond with baby and breastfeed. And I think that's great. I think it's awesome, and I think that it's something that we should all do for ourselves after our babies are born, mostly just because you're never going to get this time back. Those first few weeks when your baby is just this tiny, squishy little newborn, I know it's really exciting for everybody, and it's also super crucial for you and for your partner to have that really bonding experience and get to know each other, get to know this stranger that just barreled its way into your life. It's a lot of work, it's very overwhelming, and it's so important to just ease into it as gently as you can. One thing I teach in all of my classes is to put forth what I call the 2-week rule, which is essentially asking your family to give you some time to get to know baby, get a good start to breastfeeding, and also to allow your body to heal after birth, right? Now, this does not mean that you need to ask everybody to not come over or not see you, because that's, not everybody would want to do that. It's kind of unrealistic, especially when you have really excited grandparents, right? However, it's really important to set some boundaries with those who you are going to welcome into this 2-week period. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you a handout download that I have that is exclusively for my prenatal breastfeeding class. So you can take a look at what all of the rules are, how to put them in place, and kind of pick and choose what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you. When I had my first son, we put this rule in place and called it the 2-week rule, where we had asked everyone in our family to not contact us and not just show up unannounced or come over unless we called them or reached out to them on our own. Not because we didn't love them, not because we didn't want to be involved, but just because we figured that this is going to be really overwhelming and we want to get the opportunity to get the hang of things before people just start showing up and coming over to meet the baby. Obviously, we were very excited to show off our baby and have everyone else meet him. But one thing really important that we learned in our birthing class was about those first couple weeks of breastfeeding and how difficult it was going to be. And in my experience with my oldest son, breastfeeding was really difficult. So for me to have that couple of weeks where I wasn't just bombarded with people was a tremendous blessing, because it allowed me to just focus on what I needed to do and focus on my baby and do things our way. And when I needed help, I reached out for it. So that's kind of how it worked for me. I did the same thing when I had my second, and now that we're having baby number 4, we're going to do the same thing again. We're not going to let anybody just come over. We're not even going to announce that our baby's been born. We're just going to get to know baby, enjoy our time together as a newly expanded family, then reach out to others when we are ready. That being said, I had a short list of people that I welcomed to come over at any time that they wanted to. And even those people on that short list, they had some boundaries they had to adhere to in order to just come over. The beautiful thing is that my family was very understanding of this, and they had no problem respecting the boundaries that I set out. That being said, the way you approach the boundary setting will make a big difference in their willingness to cooperate. You may have some people who are not happy about these boundaries, but ultimately, this is your baby, this is your time, and it is up to you to set these boundaries. So for my short list, people who were allowed to come over was my mom, my dad, my sisters, and my partner's parents. And that was pretty much it. And when those people came over, the boundaries that I had for them were, please come over, please come see me, please come visit. However, you are not coming over with the expectation that you can just take the baby and hold the baby or feed the baby or walk around with the baby or do whatever with the baby. If you're coming over, you're coming over to support our family, bring us a meal, help us out around the house, run an errand for us. And in exchange for that, I'm sure that I will gladly give the baby up for 20 minutes so that I can go take a shower. Having somebody come over purposefully, not just to visit. So that was my boundary that I set, and that was really important to me. And it ended up working out really well because, especially once my second was born, I just needed moments of peace. So when people would come over, they'd bring food. I wouldn't have to worry about cooking dinner, and I could hand over the baby and just, not be touched for a minute. So it was really relieving for me, and it wasn't overwhelming either. So when you're thinking about the boundaries that you want to set for people, make them as strict as you want. And then once you're in it and you're in that 2-week moment, see how you're feeling. I know also with my second, I had a few days where I was just really emotional and I didn't want anybody to take the baby from me. I had a friend come over and pick up the baby and put him in a baby wrap so that I could take a shower, and then I cried through my whole shower because I wasn't holding my baby, right? So really, obviously I needed that break and I needed that shower, and a lot of that was postpartum hormones, but really follow your own lead, follow your baby's lead, and spend this time bonding with your baby. Do lots of skin to skin. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see the download itself. And I apologize if you can hear some background noise. It's a really beautiful day and I have my windows open and there's some gardeners across the street. So please ignore that. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at, and we'll talk over everything point by point. Okay. Okay, so this is the PDF that I was referring to. This is my 2-week rules, and this is in my Adobe Acrobat thing on my computer. And this is a section in part of my download the Best Start Family Plan that is part of the online prenatal class that I have. This is also the same thing that my clients get when they take my class in person. So the 2-week rules, on here it says day 3 and beyond. Really this starts at day 1. However, the rest of the guide, which I'll just kind of scroll up so you can see, is all information about the other parts of those first couple days. This plan takes everybody through how to prepare prenatally and what you need to do, at least as far as a breastfeeding standpoint is concerned. And then how to have your best start in those first 48 hours. So if you are interested in this, you can get it in the prenatal class, and if you are part of the private group coaching program, you can get this for 50% off as part of your member perks. So you get 50% off almost all of the services that I offer, which are listed in your member profiles. All right, so the 2-week rules, day 3 and beyond, or day 1, depending. Bonding and breastfeeding at home. You're going to need to have time to recover from birth, as we talked about, and you also want to spend this time establishing a healthy breastfeeding relationship. The first few weeks are the absolute hardest. Even if you don't have any struggles and you don't have a painful latch and baby's latching well and everything's going seemingly well from the beginning, it is still a very emotional experience and a very trying experience and a very exhausting experience. Breastfeeding or not, this is the experience that virtually every new mother and new family has. And there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. Because, you're, like I said before, you're literally having a stranger just thrust into your lives, and you need to get to know this stranger. Now, layer a breastfeeding struggle on top of that. right? It's a lot, and it can be really overwhelming. And so the last thing you need is more people showing up and making your life even more overwhelming. The good thing is when you're in the hospital, if you have your baby at the hospital, you are surrounded by all of these experts who can come in and help you. You have people bringing you your food and cleaning up after you, and you have somebody literally at the push of a button you can get a hold of to ask questions if you need it. The downside of this is because you have all of these people around you, it can be quite hectic and very overstimulating to your baby. Your newborn will become overstimulated very easily. And this is part of the reason why we put this 2-week rule into place, because if your baby's being overstimulated by your guests and your family, it makes breastfeeding a lot harder than it needs to be. Babies are overstimulated by sounds, they're overstimulated by lights, they're overstimulated by strange voices, even when those people are whispering. Okay, so even the quietest new voice is overstimulating to baby. They're also overstimulated by smells. So any sort of new smell that they're being introduced to, whether someone is wearing a perfume or a smelly shampoo or not, just the smell of that person is going to be very different from the smell of mom or dad. And that smell is overstimulating to them as well. So limiting their exposure to new sights, sounds, smells will help them maintain a level of calm at home. And that's obviously what you want. When you're trying to breastfeed, if you're having any sort of struggle, I really, really encourage you to ask people to just give you some time and give you some space. So that's the reason number one why you would want to limit visitors. I recommend limiting your visitors to, hold on, I'm gonna shut my window because it's getting very loud out there. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so back to rule number one. Okay, so limit your visitors to 1 to 2 people per day. Okay, this is going to be best for you and best for baby. If you can space it out as far as possible, that will be great too. This will also prevent them from being exposed to too many new things all at once, especially during these first couple of weeks when they are overstimulated the most. Also, when you are inviting these people over, these 1 to 2 people who you're inviting over, whether they're people on your short list or if you're inviting someone else who's not on your short list of people, make sure they know that they're coming over with the intention to support you and your family. They're not coming over to just visit and take over your bonding time with baby, right? Ideally, when you don't have baby at the breast and you are not nursing baby and not doing skin to skin, the ideal person to give your baby to would be your partner, so that he can take some time or she can take some time to bond with their baby themselves, because their bonding time is just as important as yours. And I think especially for the partner who's not breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is such a bonding experience in itself, the other partner is going to have to work a little bit harder to facilitate that same level of bonding that you're able to at the breast. So ideally, when you're able to pass baby off to your partner, and when these people come over, give them jobs to do. People are generally very happy to help when you have a new baby. They want to bring you some food. They want to come over and support you in some way. And if that's not their intention for coming over and they are not going to be okay with that, then this may be someone you want to ask to wait to come visit you until after you feel like things are going well and you're into some sort of routine and there's some form of normalcy back in your life again. So think about, who are these people? who you can trust to put on a short list who are going to respect these boundaries that you're setting. You can also say to people too that come over and help me out for a little while, and then we'll exchange it with baby snuggles. I would do that too. My mom would come over and she'd, do my dishes and do my laundry, and then she'd come in and she'd take the baby and snuggle the baby, and I'd take a little break. And I'd always make sure to time it around when baby was nursing. So if she showed up and baby had just nursed, she'd snuggle baby first. And then when baby would wake up and be ready to nurse, she'd hand him back to me. I would nurse him and she'd go and do whatever around my house. So it was like a trade almost. Okay, so rule number 2, rely on your support team. So when you're thinking about who you're going to invite and who can help out, also be thinking about what it is you want them to help you with. Whether that's meals, laundry, doing your grocery shopping, cleaning up around your house, running some errands, helping out with other kids that you might have at home, or your pets if you have pets. Whatever it is that you normally do for yourself or that your partner would normally take care of, make a list of what those things are and write down who you think could best support you in that role. So for me, my grandma would help out with cleaning and laundry. My mom would help out with cleaning and doing dishes. My sister would bring me food. I had my other friends bringing me food. Just everyday regular tasks. Think about who can support you, how they can support you, and let them know ahead of time, hey, when my baby comes, I would love it if you could support me with X, Y, and Z so that I can spend these couple of weeks healing from birth and prioritizing this bonding time with baby. And that's kind of the way that you want to spin it to them too. And then let them know when you come over to deliver me a meal or do my laundry or whatever, I would be happy at some point during that time to take a little break and give you the baby so that I can rest or so that I can take a shower or whatever it is that you would want to do for yourself. And people are generally really excited about that because that's the whole point. They want to come see the baby, right? Nobody cares about you anymore after the baby's born. It's all about that baby, unfortunately. Okay, so rule number 3, meet your basic needs. And this is again where your support team comes in. After they've helped out and your baby has had a full feeding, then offer for them to take the baby and take some time for yourself. Number 4, we kind of talked about this already too. Your partners need that bonding time too. So make sure your guests who are coming over to help you and support you are also respecting that yes, of course, baby needs to eat. That's number 1, very important. But your partner's need to bond with the baby is just as important too. And so when people are coming over, they may miss out on the opportunity to hold the baby because your bonding time and your partner's bonding time are going to become priority over everyone else. Rule number 5, just nurse your baby. So if you're really worried about people coming over and kind of taking over your life, one of the best things that you can do is just hang out in a bathrobe all day and just keep baby skin to skin. Always have baby at the breast. If people are showing up at your door and you're answering the door in a bathrobe and slippers and nothing else, people are going to take the hint pretty quickly that you are not ready to have guests if you're not even wearing regular clothes, right? It gets uncomfortable after a while to see somebody just kind of laying around in a bathrobe and nothing else, right? So use that to support you if you need an extra level of security. And also, it's really easy to nurse your baby when you're hanging out in a bathrobe. I plan to live in a bathrobe for the first 2 weeks after this baby is born. You don't want to worry about anything during these couple weeks except for establishing breastfeeding. I mentioned before, the first couple of weeks are the hardest, and it's true. So really put your time, your focus on just nursing your baby and not worrying about the rest. If you need support in that area, of course, always reach out for professional lactation support. You can contact me, post in the group member program if you're a member there, post in the successful breastfeeding community, reach out to HA League, whoever your professional lactation support is, please reach out to them too, whether that's me or another lactation consultant through your hospital or community. Do not wait either. Even if you think something is off, but you're not really sure, it is better to call. I would rather have people contact me for me to say, it sounds like everything is fine, than for people to wait and struggle and try to figure it out on your own. Please don't do that. Just contact somebody who is a professional in this field who can really support you. Number 6, don't overthink it, okay? This should not be a very complicated thing. This should be a very simple thing. All you need to worry about is focusing on bonding with your baby and bringing baby to the breast. Everything else, just don't overthink it. Rely on your support team when you need it. The number one thing that gets in the way of breastfeeding is overthinking, okay? And that's why you have all these guides that I've created. You can download. I have lots of freebies on successfulbreastfeeding.org. Under the freebies tab, there's lots of guides and information there to help support you through your journey, and you also can contact me too. But please don't overthink it. Try to get out of your head. Breastfeeding is really just as simple as just nursing your baby. And as far as everyone else is concerned, don't overthink that either. Just be direct and to the point. This is what I need. This is my boundary, and this is how I would like to include you in this postpartum period. This is how I want to include you in these first couple of weeks after my baby's born. And for the people you're not including, just be honest with them and say, I really need this time for myself. And when I'm ready, I'm going to contact you, and I would love to have you be there with me, but please give me some time to ease into this new role as mother, or mother of 2 or 3 or 4, however many you're going to have. And lastly, number 7, practice skin to skin. This is another great technique during these first couple of weeks, and another really great way to help steer people away. If they think they're going to show up to your house and you're just going to be naked, they're probably not going to want to stay very long. So again, if you're having people who are a little bit more overbearing and want really, really, really insisting on coming over, which does happen, just make sure that they realize that this is not going to be a regular visit with you, that things are a little bit more natural, if you would, with your body's exposed, baby's exposed. And I think that this comes in a lot with people who either didn't breastfeed or never had children, because they don't understand what it's like. Doing skin to skin will help kind of deter people from coming in, because it will probably make them feel awkward. And it gives you an excuse too to be able to go, I really need to do this right now, and step away into your bedroom and take baby with you and just go put baby skin to skin. It will also be a really great tool when you have had visitors to help de-stimulate baby, because baby will become overstimulated from your visitor. And lastly, just trust in the process, and just lean on your support team when you need it, okay? The other thing that will be really helpful is having this conversation with your partner about this 2-week rule. And when you are deciding how you want to do it, who you'd like to include, and what tasks you can assign to who, talk to your partner about being the protector of this process as well. Let him know how and when to step in, and let people know that you are feeling like this is too much. I need people to leave, or this visit is going on a lot longer than I had anticipated it would. When it comes to your partner's family, you should have them talk to their mom and sisters or aunts or whoever it is that want to come over, and you should talk to your own family. Come up with a code word or code phrase between the two of you as well, so that if you are starting to feel overstimulated or overwhelmed by the people who are coming to support you, you can say your code phrase, and that'll be your partner's cue to try to kind of usher people out and wrap things up and get things moving on. And you can always use the baby as your excuse. Like, we really need to do blah, blah, blah with baby now, and now's just our time to just slow down and rest, and we're exhausted, and we need to just all go take a nap, or we just need some quiet time, or however it is that you want to word it. You can be blunt and just get people out, or you can be more casual about it. But I do really suggest coming up with some sort of code phrase. My code phrase, which is actually something I learned from one of the nurses at the hospital when I had my first baby, was, man, you know what? I could really go for a green popsicle right now, which is a weird thing for me to say. I would never ask for a green popsicle. I don't really even eat ice cream and popsicles and stuff like that. But if I were to have said it at that time, one, it wouldn't be weird that I was craving something because I'm newly postpartum and breastfeeding, first off. And secondly, I would, hold on. Okay, so yeah, the green popsicle phrase. So it's not weird to be craving weird foods or foods that you wouldn't normally eat when you are first breastfeeding, and it's something that I would never normally ask for. So if I'm saying to my partner, I could really use a green popsicle right now, then he'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go get you one. But really, I'm saying to him, get these people out of here. And without having to say, you know, your mom's driving me crazy, you need to kick her out. He would just know, and he could, you know, wrap up the session and get baby out. And I think it's especially important to have someone else be your protector and be able to do this for you, even if you normally have no problem standing up for yourself or speaking out for your needs, I should say, and letting people know, I've had enough, I need to go, or it's time to end this visit. During these first couple weeks postpartum, you're going to be extra emotional. It happens, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So having someone else do that and handle that for you will make a big difference for you when it comes to dealing with those postpartum emotions, especially when you're in that phase where just everything makes you cry and you've got the baby blues for a couple of days where it's just extra hard. So think of a phrase, something you would not normally say, and use it when you need to with your partner. Make sure he's fully on board with everything too. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up now. That is pretty much it. Again, if you want access to this download, you can get access to this in the online breastfeeding class, which you can get through successfulbreastfeeding.org. There is this download inside of it, as well as lots of other really great content, other handouts and downloads, including what you should be tracking for breastfeeding, what to look for, signs that your baby's hungry, signs that your baby's full, other cues you need to know and understand to help make breastfeeding easier. There is a whole lot packed into that class. And again, if you're part of the group member, the private group membership program, you get the online breastfeeding class for 50% off, which you can access through your member profile. Otherwise, go to successfulbreastfeeding.org and click on classes, and you can sign up for the online class right through the website and log in immediately, and then you can do it at your own pace, which is really great, and have access to all of this stuff, lifetime access too. So anytime I make updates or add more content to that class, you will automatically get it. And I just did that. I did that a little while ago and added a brand new video in there about better techniques to get baby positioned well at the breast. So it's a really great deal. All right, so this kind of wraps up this discussion. If any of you have any questions, please let me know. Please feel free to write a comment in the Successful Breastfeeding community or in the group coaching program. and I will be glad to pop in and answer them for you. I will post the link to this in your group so that you can access the recording on your own time. All right. You guys have a great day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.